Hello again everyone, welcome back to In My Shed on BC. Back to the frames. I've been racking my brain since the weekend on what the hell can be wrong, and on this pissing rain public holiday, what better thing to do than have another look at the frames. I've had a little bit of an about think. On the weekend it was all about modifying the frames and squeezing the frames to get the middle stretcher in. And the middle stretcher spreader is not the object. The object is to make a set of frames. So the middle stretcher is going to get the coke and sauce over the shoulder and start again. I can retrieve the plate, I'll have a bit of a closer look at it. I think personally it's not 100% correct. I can put the straight edge on this side of the frames and they're okay. On the other side it looks like I'm narrow. Wire a couple of mil there and put Old Faithful up, and it's not quite square with the frame. So rather than bend the frames and twist them to suit the spreader gets the arse and will go off the frames. I think it's a better way to do it. Up until installing the spreader, everything was square, the rear spreader was good, the buffers looked okay, so 90% of the frames can't be wrong. It's got to come down to this one. So I'll loosen everything off, take that out, rebuild the frame so that it's reasonably square, and bring it back then and we'll see what the results are like. Well, here we are again, and the news is not terrific. I've had the frames apart, put the buffer beams on, front and rear stretchers, everything is reasonably good, but as soon as I start putting this little stretcher in and the rear stretcher here, the frames have a tendency to valley over at the top on the side. So I know it's a cumulative error, a little bit of error in each section, and I've had a good look at these two stretchers and I'm thinking I might just be able to take a fraction off them because it does go wider at what will be the top of the frame and use the stretchers to pull it over. This side is perfect. It's flat and it's straight and it's really good. So I don't know whether it was twisted on my build table, that could be something, and I didn't notice. I know I had both ends squared up, maybe I just assumed that the frames would fly. So I'm still scratching my head a little bit. I'll bring you a little bit closer. I've had lots of comments painted wires together. Well, I can't. It's been up on a build table for 5 years and there's got a lot of surface rust and the paint just wouldn't stick to it. And most of the things like the beams for the drag pins, etc., you just couldn't get a wire brush in there to do it. You can only do it while it's apart. So I'll give you a bit of a look and you can see why I have to dismantle the frames again. Maybe not completely, but at least pull all the spreaders and plates out of the inside. So I'll bring the camera up close. There you are, you can see what's on top of that little spreader. Inside there as well, and like that's a cavity that you can't get in around with a wire brush easily. I could put in a chemical bath or vapour blast it, or I can just pull the bloody thing apart and clean it up with a wire buff. But I definitely wouldn't be painting it with all that still on there. It's so much easier to strip it out to the wire wheel, clean it up and put it back in. It's a very, very simple pair of frames. It doesn't take much time to get it apart. And here's a closer up view of that rear spreader. Now it was the last one tightened up of the two main ones and it pulled about another 0.5 millimetre. And there's the main motion gear spreader. I just put it back in loose. So first thing I'll try is it's a little bit wider at the top of the frames and at the bottom, so I've got probably 1 millimetre there that I can take off 0.5 mil either side of the spreaders and see if that doesn't pull the frame up straight. I'm just worried it might pull the left hand side over, which is not what I want. But I'll see what I can do. Please like and subscribe if you're a new watcher. I'll just call this another bastard episode with the frames.